Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Vetting America, episode 14. I'm here live from the Attic Cafe in downtown Tampa, 500 East Kennedy Boulevard. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Richard McIntyre of McIntyreFirm.com, the amazing executive producer, Anthony Kovic of the Tampa Post, and my wonderful guest, Angel Francisco of S-Marketing, a veteran-owned sales and marketing company here in Tampa, Florida. So, Angel, tell us why you wanted to come on the show today, and tell us a little bit about your time in the Air Force and what it is you want to do.
So we met early this year.
Yes.
And before that, I left the Air Force. So I served in the Air Force 20 years, 6 months, and 23 days.
No one's counting.
Nobody's counting.
Yeah.
But during my separation, like a lot of people, I have my struggles.
Yes.
I think the out-processing process, it needs to be fixed.
That was one of my questions going to be. How did the Air Force set you up for transition?
So, lucky for me, I started preparing to get out way in advance.
Same here.
And I say lucky for me because I have a lot of friends and I met a lot of people that check out. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You check out a few weeks before.
Drop their pack.
You drop that a few weeks before because you don't want to give that impression that you are not working, you're not producing, you are there for the mission. But one thing that you and I have to realize after we got out is that it doesn't matter if you get out at 10, 20, or 30, the day that you have to get out will come, whether it's voluntary or involuntary. So why you gotta wait? Why you wanna wait until 2, 3 weeks, 6 months before you get out to start getting ready? So if we're counting the process of the out processing, I think that's a big fail in our system today. It doesn't really. It's like more checking boxes instead of preparing you for what you are going to face on the outside. But like I said, lucky for me, I started a side hustle while I was in active duty. A lot of late nights, a lot of early mornings. I got my education just in case. But there are some things that people need to do, veterans need to do before they get out.
Yes.
And one of those, in my opinion, is I read a retirement book. That was the number one. I think that was a game changer for.
What was the name of the book?
It's called 250 Questions You Want to Answer Before You Retire, something like that. I will share the link with you. It's something like it's 250 questions you want to answer. On a nutshell, we decided I wanted to go back to Puerto Rico. My wife wanted to stay in the States, and
she won.
She won. And a few, he asked questions that you and I probably would never ask before. Once we got those ones answered, we settled for Tampa, the Tampa area. But not only that, we start seeing like how much money do we need for moving. And I bought a house. I set a budget to fix it, and that budget was used ×2, like everything else. So there are a lot of things that you will encounter when you get out that you're not expecting.
Oh.
And so the best thing I can tell veterans before you get out, if you are thinking about being an entrepreneur, is start your side hustle before.
Yes.
Before you get out, because you have no pressure, you don't need the income,
and you're getting paid.
And you're getting paid, and you have the time to learn and gain that experience. So when you get out, you can hit the floor running, just like I did.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about S-Marketing.
So S-Marketing, it was the idea with S-Marketing is because my background is as a designer. So I started as a web designer in 1998. That's way long time ago. And then I fell in love with marketing. About 2004, I started really hard with marketing. I've been a practitioner, but I realized that marketing is just enough. You need to learn to sell. Marketing is not just for business. Marketing is you need to market yourself. You need to, and selling is also not for business. You need to learn how to sell yourself.
There's no better crash course than joining the military and learn how to sell yourself.
Definitely.
Because if you can't be your own advocate when you're in the military, you'll be passed over, and it's rough for people who can't be about themselves.
So when in 2004, 2005, it was a big wave of people claiming to be web designer, I started separating myself with you don't need a website, you need sales. So I started focusing on marketing. Later on sales. In 2008, I started recording videos for other people, and that's when I started falling in love with video.
And this is the entire time during active duty?
During active duty.
Okay.
So I've been getting my experience. In between me getting out and me starting to learn marketing and getting out, I got my BA in public relationship and marketing. I got an MBA, and I got my book education, my experience through other people. So when I decided to get out, I was like, okay, what is that I really love doing? I really love marketing. I'm really good at sales, and I have a passion for video. So I decided to combine sales and marketing. So that's why it's marketing. And right now, I'm helping entrepreneurs and business owners in two ways. I produce the videos.
Yes.
For those people that know what video they want to be produced, and for those that don't know, then I do the marketing advice.
Okay, yeah.
And that's how direct response marketing, basically, just not marketing to share a post, marketing with a call to action.
Oh, I like that. Marketing with a call to action. That's amazing. So tell us a little bit about how some of the leaders that you had in the Air Force, what were some of the leadership traits that you learned and took with you? And what were some of them that you said, I'm going to learn not to do that? Because I truly believe that the military is great in learning how to be a leader, and I like to see how veterans utilize those leadership traits out here.
You know, that's one of my biggest takeaway from being in the Air Force, being put on leadership and management position at an early age, being responsible. I had many great leaders and mentors in my 20 years. As a collective, what I learned is to take ownership for my mistakes and my team mistakes, and because things are the way they are right now, they don't have to be that way.
Yes.
They can be better. So
100%.
because we're doing things a specific way right now, they don't have to be that way. It can be a better way. So that instead of asking, you know, why this happened, how we're gonna fix it, you know,
solution-oriented mindset.
That's one of the biggest takeaways. Another one is, it is what it is. It's a phrase that I've been saying since like 2001. It is what it is. If it's within your control, do something about it. If it's out of your control,
Ownership and surrender.
why worry?
One of the biggest issues I see people, but specifically veterans, because we are perfectionists. One of the biggest issues I see is it's owning the wrong things and surrendering to the wrong things. We only have our thoughts, our words, and our actions that we can truly control. That's what we should own. Everything outside of that, we need to surrender, but yet we flip it. We try to control the external, and with that, we don't have the energy to control the internal, and that's where you see this negative manifested behaviors in society. So how were you able to... My biggest issue in the Marine Corps was that it had nothing to do with me. And because of that, I completely pushed Adam down and out. And when I got out, I was completely lost. How were you able to stay in the military, stay dedicated, driven towards the mission, but then still find out and take care of Angel? Not just rank Francisco, you know?
No, and that's a great point. That's a great question, because you and I know that a lot of veterans get lost in the uniform and the rank. And I think what I said at the beginning, you have to realize and accept that whether it's a 4 years, 10 years, 20 or 30, you're going to have to get out. Mm-hmm. So how you want your future to look? I think a lot of people that you and I meet don't future-proof their life. And so why you want to give 20 years to the service and forced to get out at 20 or 24 or 30 and lose your family or not have peace? So once you accept that, it's easier for you. At least it was easier for me to take care of myself. Say, I'm leaving work at 4 when I leave the gate, and my wife for like 7, 8 years, she didn't know exactly what I did until she started working on base, because I never talked about work at home. I was pursuing an education, things that I wanted. I kept me motivated. But one thing that also kept me motivated is I was one of the lucky that I moved from job to jobs.
Yes, that's huge.
So people ask me often, you know, how you made that happen, like how I moved from job to job. And the answer is simple. I asked. A lot of people want the job.
So true. It's so true. That's how I got everything. I annoyed my higher ups until they gave me what I wanted.
You know, I was on a Friday night. I had a next door neighbor. He's like, Angel, there is a job for being an instructor. Monday morning, I was in the detachment office. Hey, Cap, I heard that you have an opening for an instructor. And the captain said, I heard that too, and it's yours. and you have to ask, because I think if you stay in the same place, not only you gonna learn to not like it as much,
yes,
that you're gonna drop the ball and you're not gonna take care of it, what you need to. Yeah.
So I was completely self-destructive when I was in the military. When I wasn't making myself better, I was destroying myself.
Okay.
Drinking, smoking, whatever it was. How it doesn't seem like you really have self-destructive tendencies. It seems like you've been a hustler forever. So tell us a little bit about how were you able to keep your head on straight?
Oh no, I had self-destructive tendencies like anybody, like any young person. I joined the military. I didn't speak English when I joined in 1996. It was a yes or no set for a whole year. So while I was a hustler for before and during my active duty career, I drank. I did a lot of things I wasn't proud of. I party hard. I didn't study when I needed to study. I didn't study for rank when it was an open book test. You have control.
You do.
But sometimes we don't learn from other people, and we should learn from other people's mistakes. So
it took me till about 22, 23 before I was like, I've made enough of these on my own. I'm gonna start looking at other people.
Yeah, and that's it's depending on you. So it will take it might take one occasion or it might take 1 year, but whether you learn from your mistake or somebody else's mistake, eventually most people learn.
Family seems to be very important in your life.
Definitely.
I see it all over your Facebook all the time. I'm really proud to see.
Thank you.
Even just knowing you for 6 months, how far you've come.
Thank you.
You know, we're on the similar paths. Tell us a little bit about how your family helped you get through your military career, and how has it helped your transition since?
So my wife is not an entrepreneur. We had some hiccups because at first I didn't make time for her before the kids. I used to get out of work and close myself in an office and start coding. And sometimes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I didn't leave the office until Sunday when I used to program. And those years were rough. But eventually, I realized that I have a treasure. I have peace. She gave me a lot of latitude, a lot of
she supports
support.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to lose the peace that I have because for being
chasing external gratification, really.
And it got to a point that I was chasing dollars instead of chasing my peace.
Yes.
So right now I have a peaceful life. I have the life that I want. I have a life that I never planned before, like really comfortable life. And my wife is a huge part of that. I'm proud of raising two young kids that they're still kids. They fight between each other, but for the most part, they are very polite, respectful, and I'm very proud of them. But it was a struggle at first. It wasn't. We had problems, but now at this point, we've been for 15 years together. At this point, it's more like disagreement for like a minute, and then it's over.
One of my professors in school, he's been married to his wife probably 27 years, and he's very, he even says, I'm difficult to live with,
yes.
and he self-admits that. He said the first 10 years it was knocking heads, and after about 10 years, it's just you don't have the energy to really fight anymore. You just want to get over it and through it.
It's not, at least in my case, it wasn't that we compromised. It's that I finally realized that I wasn't chasing a dollar sign. I was chasing a lifestyle. A peaceful lifestyle. I wanted, and when I was living in Europe, I got hit by the travel bug, and now that's just more traveling with the family.
Yes.
And but I don't want any drama. I don't want any complainings. I don't want any negative people surrounding me. I want positive people. And in the same way you chase a diet or a gym, you should chase the people that you surround yourself.
true.
And for me, it was a lifestyle. It is still a lifestyle.
Why entrepreneurship?
The freedom.
Okay.
I can't see myself
There's no other path.
putting a uniform and going to work for somebody else between 9 and 5. I don't. If my kids,
hurts me.
If my kids need, if my wife is off, okay, I block that day. We go and have lunch. We do something else. If my kids have something, I go to the school. If I have to fly to Puerto Rico to see my family, I take them with me. I have that freedom. And I'm blessed that I really love marketing and I get paid to do what I love. So it's a win-win.
I 100% believe that. I tried to chase the corporate path. We've talked about it. I lasted about 6 months, and I said
Now,
I can't.
I'm not.
No, not at all.
I'm not.
No.
If that's your
People like it.
Yeah.
People like the structure.
If you like it, boom. If you want to go to school, go to school. Will I tell my
I went
kids?
to school. I love school.
Yeah, I love learning.
Yes,
I
yes.
think school is behind to the reality of outside.
I will agree with you halfway. I believe that school is behind on the way they teach, but I also believe it's the mentality that kids go into it with. I went into it where my GPA didn't reflect what I got out of school. My GPA wasn't that great. I got a 3.2 overall, 2.5 in my major, but I also picked the hardest major I could find for myself. But what I did was I conceptualized that information, and because I actually took the time to not just try to memorize it and regurgitate it, but learn it, I got so much intrinsic value out of that I believe that we're not teaching children how to properly learn.
Yes. No. I agree, and I think one of the biggest problems in with that is people go and pick a major that chasing that position, that title, and that money, and not something that they love, and that's also part of the problem. I understand you want to make a living, but
there's so many ways to make a living. I just don't believe that you should hate what you do every day to just be able to pay your bills.
And I do, and you see it. You see it on Facebook. Oh, Monday.
It's again, if you're living for the weekends, then are you truly living?
So I agree with that. That statement. I know where you're coming
I
from.
still look forward to the weekends, even though.
And the reason I look forward to the weekends, especially on school days, is because my kids are at home.
Absolutely.
And I get to do activities with my kids and my
More
family.
referencing the people that live to party on the weekends
Yeah.
to distract themselves from the week. Because I did that for a decade. I mean, I would want to. By the time Monday came around, I didn't ever wanted to drink again. By the time Friday, especially in the military, by the time Friday came around, all I wanted to do was drink, and it was that distraction. We're distracting ourselves from our greatness because we're not doing something that we're meant to be doing.
No, 100%.
Absolutely. What does being a vetrepreneur mean to you, though? Because being a veteran and being an entrepreneur, those two are so parallel. Those two ecosystems and the community in them. It's saved me.
So I will tell you, moving to Tampa and connecting with this network of vetpreneurs, it's been a eye-opening for me. When I got out, I told everybody I don't want to work, and I don't want to go to the base. I don't want a government job. I don't want nothing. I don't want to see planes. I don't want nothing.
See any more planes.
Nothing like that. And I had this vision of nonprofits until I spent time with Brian. And I can see how people still today, in this year, truly want to help other people. And then I start investing more time with like Robert and other people that like are positive and really go out of your way to help. And because we have something in common, it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Even though that we are not talking about Marine and Air Force, we do have that bond, and it feels good.
It feels good because I actually accepted when I was about my second year into school. I think I might have been a junior at this time. I did school very quickly. I'm the kind of person that just like gets stuff done. So I got a 4-year degree in 2.5 years. Get it done. Let me start my life.
Yeah.
I realized, I said, I don't think I'm ever going to make adult friends again. I literally said that to myself, and I accepted it.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until the Vet Symposium, which I believe that's where we initially met, and then Veterans Florida Entrepreneurship Program is where we really bonded. It wasn't until that event, the Vet Symposium, that I realized there's a whole other world out here of people that are on the same plane as me.
So just to circle back to how this conversation can help veterans and stick to the pack, network with other veterans. That's a key. If you are still on active duty or reserve, start your side hustle before you get out. But most important, ask for mentorship, ask for questions. And I think that's another myth or not underutilized resource in the military. People don't go out and like poke the bear, like ask the commander or ask the first chair, like for real mentorship. Or other people,
or the fact that we have an officer that tells us they have an open door policy. As soon as they walk away, our senior enlisted, they're like, that's not true. He doesn't have an open door policy. Don't talk to him.
I'll tell you, I walk to every office, and
I wish that's the one thing. I learned networking and how important networking in the military was. I learned how important it was to plug yourself in to the most influential people, because that's how you find the opportunities. But what I wish I would have done was take it to the level I've taken it now, where everywhere I go, I talk to people. Everywhere I go, I network, no matter what. If it's in a grocery store, if it's at a restaurant, if it's a bank teller, I'm networking constantly. That's something I really didn't do too much in the Marine Corps, because I was always afraid of what others were thinking of me.
And that's part of, in the military, that's part of the culture. Like what other people think about you. To add to a previous question you asked about mentorship, the one thing that I took away from one of the commanders is asking better questions.
So true.
So, especially when you're taking time from a commander or from somebody important, you gotta think way ahead the question to make sure that question give you the answer that you were looking for without wasting other people's time.
And the art of asking questions is something that no one ever talks about. Just as much as you're trying to get good sage advice from that commander by asking the right questions, what about the people you're trying to influence? I think too often we tell people how to think, how to act, and how to be, and it instantly puts their defensive walls up. But I'm learning that if you can ask the right questions that can have them discover the answers for themselves of what you're trying to implant in their minds, that then they'll own it and they'll apply it because they thought of it themselves. So what are some of your strategies for learning how to ask better questions and listen more intently?
Practice. So there is a book called Power Questions. I love that one.
Power Questions.
Power Question. Orange cover. But practice. So one of the things that I've been doing for a long time is interviewing other people. And what I do in my interviews is I ask questions that I want to know the answer. And I practice what I was in the military. I interview a lot of people in the military, or I went and chat with the chief or with the commander, and I start asking better questions. And after you leave, if you analyze your conversation for a couple of minutes, you realize you could have asked a better question. And then when you combine those activities, your practice with reading material, you find better ways to ask questions. And researching, there are always strategies, whether it's open-ended question, no leading question, no yes or no question, things like that. But those are just a baseline, a simple framework you have to practice, because it has to fit the context. It has to be natural, and it has to fit the context of your conversation.
What are some of the resources you've used during your transition that have helped you reach the level of success that you're at currently?
As far
veteran organizations and resources.
Okay, Veterans Florida, definitely. Operation Startup helped me with resources, and the local community, or veteran community.
Absolutely.
I think the biggest takeaway for getting ahead is to try to do it yourself and then ask for help instead of asking for help. Try to be resourceful instead of complaining that it's a lack of money or lack of time or technology. Try to figure it out, and then go to somebody that maybe done it or is important and said, I did this and it didn't work, what's your advice? Instead of asking, what should I do?
what you do a lot of free classes for people, especially at the Entrepreneurship Collaborative Center in Ybor. What have you learned about paying it forward, giving back, bringing value first and foremost? That's something that I've doubled down on in my pursuit of greatness, and it's changed everything for me. What is your opinion on bringing value to the forefront before you try to take anything in return?
I learned, so without a doubt, it feels good.
It does.
It feels good, but it has to be consistent, and for you to be able to produce value constantly for others, you need to get something back in return of equal or greater value, just like when you exchange money with somebody else. So if I'm teaching a class, I'm recording the class, or I'm taking behind the scenes pictures because that will help my marketing. It shows people what I do. So while I'm not selling on those classes, at least I'm capturing some type of material. And I think if you just give, you will starve yourself to death. You will starve your business to death. It has to be and even if it's unspoken, an unspoken value exchange somehow.
Yes.
And if the other people, like for example, if I go to Operation Startup, I can't sell from the stage. So what I can do within my control that will bring value to me while I'm providing value to others.
Absolutely.
So right now, I can take selfies with the people, ask them to do Instagram stories and share my I can ask them to share the next event because I gave them value. They can invite other people. I can record some of the interaction and use it for my YouTube video. So I can get something in return, but you have to be intentional with
intentional.
You have to go with intention, and don't be scared that I'm doing this, I'm not supposed to be that. If you don't grab value for yourself, you're gonna starve your business, so that no questions asked.
And I've lived it. I have lived it. The hardest part for me was valuing myself and being able to ask for payment or ask for what I need, what I deserve. How have you been able to overcome kind of the negative connotation that money and asking for money that you kind of get as a veteran? Because everything we did was for service. Everything we did was because we wanted to do it, and there wasn't a lot of money in it. Being out here now and having to ask for what you deserve, ask for what you want, value yourself, how were you able to do that?
No, and the situations vary, and I can give you a couple of scenarios. People still, it's educating people on how you do and what you do and what it takes. It could be something so simple like somebody asked me to do a wedding video, and I told them, I have a favorite line: let's avoid the dance. Tell me what's your budget. That's my favorite line, because it just, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. They gave me the budget, and I said I can do it for this much because I have to drive 2 hours.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't matter if the wedding is 45 minutes or 30 minutes. I still have to drive 2 hours.
And drive 2 hours back.
And once they realize that it's not just the wedding,
no, it's a whole
and then the editing and all that. So it's about educating or itemizing sometimes what it takes to make that happen.
It's really smart. That right there is a nugget that I'm going to start applying to my life. Absolutely. Mindset's huge with you. Mindset's huge with me.
Yes.
How have you mastered your mindset? How do you continue to improve it? And what were some of the tools and things you've done to try to take yourself from who you were to who you are today?
I used to be a very negative person.
So it's so easy. That's all. I'm from New Jersey, so it's all pessimism and negativity.
I used to be a very negative person, but when I was given that advice, it is what it is, things started changing. And to the point that even when I retired, if you see the pictures, I got shirts that says the best day ever. And it's not because of the retirement, it's just something that I was saying for 2+ years. I went to the staff meetings, and I was laying back, and they asked, Anderson, well, you got something? I smiled, I said, best day ever.
Living the dream, that's what I say.
And it became a thing. But between feeling great like I do now and between being a negative person and feeling great like I do right now, you have to let go.
Let go.
You have to let go of bad friends.
Yes.
Your kryptonite, whatever is your kryptonite, you have to let it go. And you know what's your kryptonite.
Yeah. I already have it in my head. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
There it is.
So you have to block that person. Don't buy that cake or the beer, whatever it is. You know what it is. You got to stay away from it. And it all being grateful. So
Gratefulness. It's the number one.
One of the things that I did that it definitely make it might sound lame. There are two things: writing what you're grateful for today, and sharing that with other people, and mantras. You can tell yourself that you're the sexiest, guy, whatever it is that makes you feel happy and put a smile on your face, and repeat that.
Affirmations.
Affirmations. Mm-hmm. Look at yourself in the mirror.
It really does.
It does work until you don't need it.
What does self-love mean to you, and how has building a relationship with yourself improved all the other relationships in your life?
So that's very important. The best way I can put it is when you get briefed on an airplane, they ask you to put your mask first. Yes. And then your kids. But we, in day-to-day relationships and day-to-day work, we tend to take care of other people first before you take care of you. If you don't take care of you, you can't take care of other people. So for me, it's me having internal peace, love, so I can not have a good night of sleep, so I can don't be cranky around my family. Have enough money so we don't have to argue about not being able to do something. It's just taking care of me and living for me so I can provide for others.
We're going to finish it out. My favorite part of the show is I ask every single veteran that comes on if you have some sage advice to give to a transitioning military veteran, whether they're about to get out or whether they're already out or they've been out for 10 years. I feel like we're never stopped transitioning. What is that advice, and why do you believe that to be true?
Are they're entrepreneurs or non-entrepreneurs? Anybody?
Any veteran that's transitioning.
Okay. Pick a place that you want to live based on your lifestyle, not because you think it's the best job. Try to pay all your bills before you get out. Don't be afraid to be a bagger in Walmart. Just do whatever it takes to do. Just because you were a master sergeant in the military, in the Air Force, doesn't mean that you cannot do lower jobs. Try to get your education before you get out. If not, use your GI Bill.
Use your GI Bill.
Definitely use
Only
your
10% of GI Bills are used.
And that's a conspiracy scam. That's a different conversation.
Yes.
I'm emptying mine, by the way. I'm gonna empty mine.
I got 10.5 months left. It's either I'm going to start a psychology degree or I'm going to get my master's in leadership and organizational
I'm thinking about psychology, but anyway.
Anyway, sorry.
So try to get your education. If you're looking to be an entrepreneur, start your gig before you get out. But if you already got out, go for what you're passionate. If you don't know what you're passionate about, try to solve your own problem. Become an expert on solving that own problem, and then teach other people how to solve that same problem. But it's all about moving forward, living the life in your own terms, living the life that you want to live, not living the life that is handed to you. So create, manage, grow. Ooh. Create the life that you want to live. Don't live the life that is handed to you. Manage your time wisely and grow every single day.
Create, manage, and grow. So how do we reach you? How do we find out more about Angel Francisco and Smarketing?
So all my social media handles are Angel F. Anderson. Okay. They're all the same. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, they're all the same. You can find me on YouTube, which is Angel Anderson Videos, and my website, angelanderson.com.
Thank you so much, Angel.
Thanks.
It was great having you on. This is an excellent conversation. I'm definitely going to have him on again because we're going to start getting some details.
Maybe I have you on.
Oh, I'm all about it. But this is the Conclude Vetting America episode 14. Again, we are live at the downtown Attic Cafe, 500 East Kennedy Boulevard, every Friday between 11 and 2:30. We're recording shows. We have guests. There's great food. Just come out and enjoy it. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Richard McIntyre of McIntyreFirm.com and the incredible Anthony Kovic of the Tampa Post.